Now at 9, charges against a Carthage, Missouri teen after a fatal crash. Plus, USDA announcing millions of dollars in grants for several Kansas communities, including some in southeast Kansas.
Is a recession in the eye of the beholder? I'm Mike Emanuel in Washington with how Americans think the Biden administration is handling the economy.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. A 19-year-old is charged in a crash earlier this month that killed another 19-year-old. Authorities say Joseph Hill of Carthage was driving while intoxicated when the vehicle overturned near Grand Falls in Joplin. In that crash, 2 people were injured and Keenan Reed of Carthage was killed. Hill is charged with felony DWI, death of another, second-degree felony assault, and driving while suspended or revoked license. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation is helping the Chanute Police Department investigate an early morning homicide. Authorities say shortly after midnight this morning, officers were called by a resident who heard a gunshot. When they arrived, they found 34-year-old Blake Pearson of Topeka in an alley with a gunshot wound and a bystander giving him CPR. Pearson was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. An autopsy has been scheduled. Well, the Healthy Bourbon County team is a group that helps people with specific backgrounds get their businesses up and running. KOAM's Joplin Banks explains how a $200,000 grant is going to help continue this mission.
Oh, it makes me feel awesome. I love being able to create opportunities for my peers. I mean, this is a small town, so I know a lot of people here, and so be able to reach back and help some of my friends and peers up and just realize their dreams, you know. So it's like my dream to help them achieve their dreams.
That is exactly what the mission of the Healthy Bourbon County Action Team is, creating opportunities for startup, low-income, and minority people and businesses. And with the $200,000 they've received in grant money, they'll be able to do just that.
And so being able to say, okay, so we can help you get that LLC registered through the state, or we can help you get your nonprofit started and through the IRS and through the state, or we can even get your EIN number and things like that so you can get a bank account. We can connect you with different professionals.
They believe that with stable income, it has more benefits than just money.
Health is so much more than just what happens in the clinic. Health is where you live, where you eat, where you play. And so building wealth is a critical piece in our health outcomes as a whole.
With work already getting done, the group hopes to expand in helping the community with more projects. In Fort Scott, Kansas, Joplin Banks, KOAM News.
The team has been able to help more than 60 people with their services. Hot today, but light at the end of the tunnel. Meteorologist Doug Eddy joining us now.
Yeah, super hot one once again, back above 100 degrees, which we've been doing several days in a row. 15th day this summer, we've hit 100 degrees. A record 104 set back in 2012, which was also a very hot summer across the region. We've seen a few isolated little thunderstorms kind of rotating through. Most of these are out of here. I think most of the night we're going to be pretty quiet, but we are going to see rain chances increasing as we go into the next few days. We have a front kind of right across the northern county. So look at this, we're in the 70s, Iola, and also Fort Scott, and then everybody else still sitting into lower 90s. Of course, I'm going to talk about the changes all coming up here in just a bit.
Doug, thanks as always. Administrators with Joplin School District are urging parents to apply for reduced or free lunches for those kiddos. Officials say the National School Lunch Program waiver that provided free school meals for all students since the beginning of the pandemic has not been renewed for the 2022 to 2023 school year. Originally, all students were eligible for reduced or free lunches under the pandemic waiver, but now parents must apply and be approved. You can find a link on how to apply on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. A local Neosho, Missouri artist was commissioned to paint lively murals at a Morse Park, specifically a park, Morse Park. KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke to the artist.
Neosho, Missouri is becoming more colorful with multiple new murals. The city approached local artist Sandra Pemberton to paint 2 murals in Morse Park on the park's pavilion.
So I scouted out the area and they had brought these pavilions in from a gas station that had shut down. And it very much looked like a gas station pavilion.
Sandra is painting with a purpose. She is painting 8 murals in just 9 days. She spoke about the importance of an artist's vision.
Headspace. Like, it sounds funny, but like if I messed up on the job, I will revise 20 times. And sometimes I'll just be like, you know what? I am going home. I will try again tomorrow.
The beautification project has been well planned. Sandra put a lot of thought into the design sketches and color scheme. Even when she's done for the day, she's still thinking about the murals.
And then I do a lot of just like laying in bed at night and thinking about my steps and what needs to happen first.
Despite the pressure of painting 8 murals in a short amount of time, the community interest in her art keeps Sandra going.
Really nice to see it growing. And it's even better because like the community really does like it, which to me, it's all, of course I'm gonna like it, but to see them like it is pretty awesome.
In Neosho, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
The murals will be completed and presented Saturday morning. Data expected to be released later this week is going to confirm whether we are technically in a recession or not. But for most Americans, their personal situation is going to make up their minds for them. And that has the White House doing damage control before these numbers even come out. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has more from Washington.
There's good news for drivers as gas prices plunge at least 16 cents since last week. The national average hovering at $4.35 a gallon.
I ain't got a nickel or dime. I ain't got to stop at the light and cut my car off.
Despite pump price improvements, record inflation is still pushing Americans' wallets closer to empty, which has the White House on defense.
We're not going to be in a recession, in my view.
The administration trying to curb recession fears as they wait for a handful of key reports coming out this week, including consumer confidence numbers and an expected Fed rate hike of another 0.75%. The new data expected to give us a glimpse into our economic standing. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says if the numbers indicate second quarter negative growth, that doesn't signal a recession.
I would say that we're seeing a slowdown. We're likely to see some slowing of job creation, but I don't think that that's a recession.
Many Americans, though, think the country's economy is going in the wrong direction. A new Fox News poll says 68% of voters do not approve of the White House's handling of the economy.
9 out of 10 of our fellow citizens think the country's on the wrong track. They think that because it is.
On Tuesday, we will find out whether consumer confidence bounced back in June from its lowest level in a year. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Marion Evans served in the U.S. Navy from 1944 to 1946. We are proud to thank and salute Marion Evans, native of Columbus, Kansas. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Getty's next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, Nancy Bauer telling the story of beloved coach Crispino in her new book for Coach.
Well, of course, another hot one for us today. This is day number 14 this month, 15 total that we have hit 100 degrees this summer. We usually only average doing it about 1 or 2 times during the summer months, so this has obviously been an extreme summer so far. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Look at the month. Only 2 days have been below normal and 89. That was the best we could get. Look at the stretch of triple digits. And then again, and then all last week, we have been above 100 degrees for a week now, which is kind of crazy. And it looks like it's just going to continue as we go into the next couple days. And then we're going to start to get some relief. Here's a front, northern counties. So look at this. You got northerly winds. You got temperatures upper 70s to near 80 degrees. And then you got the 90s in our southern counties. And that front is going to kind of play havoc with us as we go through the next several days. Also, humidity has stepped up a bit, mid 60s on the dew points, kind of in that sticky to muggy range. And that's okay if it gets a little bit more humid, especially if we can get that cold front to actually shift through. And it looks like we'll be able to. 92, south winds at 5, humidity at 41%. When you look outside, had a couple isolated, quick little guys rotating through west central parts of Missouri. Right now it looks pretty quiet. Any thunderstorms off to our east across central Missouri and then I-70 and north into northern parts of Missouri. But good news, we got these little waves that are going to start to rotate in as we go through the next few days. So we do have some rain chances in the forecast. I think tonight's going to be pretty quiet. As we get into Tuesday, we're going to heat up quickly. I think near 100 by about 1, and then we should go to about 105, 106 as we head into the afternoon. Here's your day planner. 80 to start, 98 by noon. High temp 106, southerly winds, a little breezy, 10 to 20, and we are going to get some afternoon scattered thunderstorms. Most of these are going to be along and north of I-44, but tomorrow night a complex will try to push in, giving us wider spread showers and thunderstorms as we head into Wednesday morning, which would be great news. Wednesday afternoon, we heat up once again near 100 with some isolated scattered showers and thunderstorms. More thunderstorms on Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and this is when the front actually shifts through, and we're going to see much better temperatures, about 20 degrees cooler than what we've been seeing over the past several days. So we're going to be into the upper 80s to near 90 by Thursday, and then even cooler than that by Friday. 106 tomorrow, 100 on Wednesday, 90 Thursday, 83 on Friday, 83 Saturday, back into the 90s early next week, and we should get some widespread rain this week, which the farmers need. I need it. Everybody needs it across the region.
So this rain you're talking about, tell me more about it. What does it feel like?
Well, it's a little chilly and it's wet. I know we haven't seen any for a long time.
So it's like liquid from the sky.
Yeah, it does happen.
It's been a while.
I know.
Doug Hetty, thank you. We'll see you in a little bit. Coming up, an alert from the CDC about a virus that can cause life-threatening disease in babies.
Be sure and drop.
Health officials continue to struggle with how to contain the monkeypox outbreak that's spreading around the world. The World Health Organization now says monkeypox is a public health emergency of international concern. The U.S. has seen a 10-fold increase in cases over the past month, but health officials here say they are not declaring it an emergency quite yet. CDC alerting doctors and public health departments after multiple states have reported cases of a type of virus that can cause life-threatening disease in infants and babies. Aaron Edwards has a story of two Connecticut parents who lost their child and want to help all their families.
There is no website.
The Delanceys welcomed their second child, Ronan, in May. About a week later, something wasn't right.
He was fussier, he wasn't eating quite as well, and he had some redness on his chest.
They took him to the pediatrician who sent them home. That night, they went to the emergency room.
As soon as I walked into the hospital, he stopped breathing.
Then Ronan started having seizures. The family says doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. 4 days later, he was diagnosed with Perecovirus.
It's extremely rare to find, but it might not be that rare because they don't ever really look for it.
Perecoviruses are common in children and typically cause mild cold-like symptoms. But infants under 3 months may have serious, possibly fatal infections, according to the CDC. Ronan had severe swelling and tissue damage in his brain.
Going from like the best days of our lives to, having our child die in our arms.
The CDC recently issued this alert, with doctors in multiple states reporting cases in infants.
It can look like the child has what we call sepsis, which is a very severe infection, and it can also be associated with meningitis, which is basically an inflammation of the lining that surrounds the brain.
The CDC encourages doctors to look for the virus in babies presenting with those symptoms. There is no antiviral treatment. Patients receive supportive care.
Rehydration, putting them on medication to suppress seizures, and giving them other forms of supportive measures that can help them while their body clears the virus.
I want Ronan to have a legacy. I don't want another family to go through this.
Ronan's parents hope sharing their story will lead to more testing for this virus. Aaron Edwards, CBS News, Hampton, Connecticut.
Preventing Perecoviruses, like any other virus, doctors say it's critical to practice good hand hygiene, wash those hands, and stay away from anyone who's not feeling well. They also recommend limiting the number of visitors for newborns. Still ahead, going to check out some new wearable technology meant to better track your health. Colleges across the U.S. losing students, and some are being hit the hardest. A report from the National Student Clearinghouse Research Center says college enrollments have dropped by about 1.3 million in 2 years. Fall-offs continued through the pandemic and this spring. Public colleges and community colleges have seen the sharpest enrollment drop-offs. One business professor says a lack of seriousness and a lack of courage by university administrations have contributed to the decline. The future of wearable technology is being made in Arizona, and you might start seeing more of these products every day. Fox's Steve Nielsen has this story.
You might start seeing more of these products every day.
So this sensor measures up to 200 G's of force.
Eric Luster's Movement Interactive device can detect concussions in athletes.
So we have to get this technology out so we can start saving lives.
And it was developed here, the WearTech Applied Research Center. This one too. Vicky Mayo says if your device notices you're starting to become stressed, these will fix that.
And as soon as you get stressed out, we'll give you a dose of blast technology using our artificial intelligence to reduce your stress in real time in seconds.
Started in 2019, the WearTech Institute connects local universities and entrepreneurs and investors. The Arizona Commerce Authority just awarded $1.6 million to 8 wearable technology projects, matching private investment in the small research companies.
That means creating new jobs here in Arizona, building out our manufacturing capacity here in the state, and diversifying our economy.
They bring in industry leaders to go over the needs of the healthcare industry and then connect with entrepreneurs that can fill those needs.
There are many resources that are unknown by us when we enter into the program.
Erica Frazanzi's company made this device that detects acetone in the breath to help with weight loss.
So we'll bring this to him. You keep on your face.
These technologies really have an implication.
Luster says this private-public partnership is what was needed for his company to thrive.
WearTech was instrumental for us getting on the field today.
Steve Nielsen, Fox 10 News.
All right, next trip to Massachusetts. Talk about a one-of-a-kind whale watching experience.
Hey.
All right, so this happens fast. Look at that, but we have it on a repeat, so you get to see it over and over again, because it's quite something. A breaching whale landing on the bow of a small boat off the coast of Plymouth, Massachusetts. The dramatic moment was caught on camera by a fellow boater. Happened yesterday near White Horse Beach. Luckily, no injuries were reported. The boat wasn't seriously damaged. The whale is believed to be a humpback, which is common to the area. And can't you just picture if the whale could talk to humans, be like, my bad, I saw you, but I got a big body. I'm sorry. What can I say? 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Look at how to best get rid of those Japanese beetles, a growing problem in this area. Plus, luxury for half the price and half the size. Going to hear more about micro mansions. Miami City Council is giving residents some leeway on utility rates when a meter is unable to be read because of extraordinary circumstances. The issue was brought up to the council after 2 residents had issues with their water meters. One meter was struck by lightning, the other was installed incorrectly. Because of these issues, city workers were unable to accurately read the meters. Now, the city manager has the power to waive all fees or a portion of them during instances like this. The council also discussed possible changes to their animal laws, including mandatory sterilization and limits on the amount of pets allowed.
It's not just Oklahoma, it's nationwide. Right now, this has been a hard year for shelters and rescues across the nation, not just Oklahoma. There's just a lot of
The person who we were hearing from said that this is a problem nationwide. It's just not unique to Miami. Nothing related to the animals laws in Miami was voted on at today's meeting. More 4-state residents are noticing the impact of Japanese beetles this summer. Weather has caused them to emerge later than normal, and now gardeners are experiencing them in addition to an ongoing drought, making these pests even more prevalent. The beetles emerge from the soil as an adult with a lifespan of 30 to 45 days. They do most of their feeding somewhere between June and September, depending on when they emerge. Large populations of beetles are going to move around the shrub and consume the plant tissue and make skeletonized leaves. They're a nuisance, right? The most effective way to get rid of these guys are contact pesticides.
It is estimated to be, if not the most destructive, then the second most destructive horticultural pest in the country.
Yeah, I believe it. We contacted a local business owner on how the Japanese beetles have impacted her business, and you can read more about this on our website, again, KOAMnewsnow.com. Local business is going to soon start selling micro home kits. KOAM's Yana Haptala learned more about their goal to help provide more affordable housing to those looking to build.
So the way they're packaged, when we take this on the truck, we'll set it.
Abby Nelson, a founder of Micro Mansions, is building her first house test kit in Columbus, Kansas. She says she got the idea when she couldn't find a small enough house for her to purchase.
I was trying to buy a house and I couldn't find anything that I wanted. Everything was too big. And so I started designing my own house to put on a piece of land. And they were more of these smaller footprint, kind of modern homes. And I had a lot of interest from other people to have a similar house.
According to Home Advisor, in 2022, the average cost to build a home in the U.S. is $280,000. Nelson's goal is to have each micromansion sale for around $100,000.
Our cost per square foot is a little bit more, but you're still getting like everything you would get in a normal house, just a little bit smaller footprint, and then you're able to have like those nicer higher end finishes, so it's durable, it's energy efficient, it's a good product for a price point that is needed in the area.
The kits are planned to be shipped around the U.S.
Some developers are looking at, like, they can fit more of these on an acre than they can bigger houses or duplexes, and so they're interested in building little communities of them where they can have 10 to 12 of them and use them as student housing.
Robert Pinegar, a constructor at the micromansion, says this is a good way to provide people affordable, simple homes.
Everything being so high, price of lumber, the price of materials, the cost of living is so high. So this is going to keep them, bring it back down where most people can afford to live and still have money in their pocket.
In Columbus, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
Once work on the kits start, the crew's goal is to have the project complete in 4 to 6 weeks. In Canada today, Pope Francis delivering a historic apology for the Catholic Church's treatment of Indigenous people. From the late 1800s to the 1990s, not too long ago, more than 150,000 Native children were forcibly taken from their families to attend Canada's residential Christian schools, most of them run by Catholics. The Canadian government has admitted that physical and sexual abuse were rampant in the schools. The government believes thousands of children never made it back home. Congress is on the cusp of passing a bill aimed at addressing computer chip shortages here in the U.S. The shortage caught many people off guard during the height of the coronavirus pandemic, but there is some criticism from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle concerning this legislation. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more details from D.C.
After weeks of uncertainty, the Senate is getting ready to advance a multi-billion-dollar bill aimed at shoring up the country's semiconductor industry. Advocates say the move will boost the country's national security and improve its competitiveness against China.
This CHIPS bill is an important piece of it. To be able to stay in the game and be the most competitive nation in the world.
A global shortage of computer chips, which are used in several products from smartphones to cars, has upended supply chains, fueling a spike in prices. Supporters believe the $280 billion package will ultimately help ease crushing inflation.
That would provide real relief for our manufacturers.
But critics argue inflation is exactly why Congress shouldn't pass the massive spending bill right now, adding the legislation isn't tough enough on China.
I just don't think this bill has enough guardrails, for instance, whether it's allowing companies that might benefit from these tax credits or grants to continue to do business in China.
Last week, the bill passed another procedural vote with bipartisan support. The Senate voted to move it forward 64 to 34. However, on Monday, two supporters, Senators Lisa Murkowski and Joe Manchin, tested positive for COVID, tightening an already razor-thin majority.
Even if the Senate passes the bill, it'll have to pass the House before lawmakers leave for August recess on Friday. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
And a bit later, protecting more animals.
Rhinos are powerful animals but are struggling to withstand extinction. I'm Marianne Rafferty with a look at the ongoing efforts to help relocate and save these creatures coming up.
Well, of course, over 100 once again for us today. 7 days in a row that we have done this 15 times for the season, which we never want to do. We have not had a stretch like this with consistently above 100 degrees. We have to go back a decade to 2012. Look at this shot. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Look at this month. Brutal month. We haven't had much rain. Now, some of you last night got a pretty good amount, really, from Pittsburgh north, but most of us through the metro, we haven't seen a drop. But look at these stretches each week, and then all the way back to last Monday. Sunday was 102, and then we had a very cool, crisp 96 last Monday. It's been above 100 since that point in time. All right, here's our front, and this is going to play havoc with us. You can see this wind shift line, but look how much more comfortable it is. It's 77 in Fort Scott, then you hit 82 in Pittsburgh, 91 in Miami. Most of us are going to stay on the south side, the hotter side of the front for a few more days. Then we'll start to see some changes. Humidity starting to come up. These are dew points. We're in that 65-ish degree range, so it's kind of sticky out there, but thankfully humidity will go back down as well once we get into the second half of the work week. 92 right now, humidity at 41%. Let's go outside. Had a few random little guys kind of pop up Crawford County into parts of Barton County on the Missouri side. Nothing for us right now. Most of the night's going to be dry. Most of the showers and thunderstorms that are out there are across central parts of Missouri heading away from us. But the good news, we're getting these little weak waves. These little tiny waves are going to rotate in and interact with that front over the next couple days, so our rain chances will start to go up. All right, let's go through tonight. We're going to stop at 6:30 in the morning. Maybe a random shower in our northern county, most of us dry. But once we get into the afternoon, we'll start to get some isolated thunderstorms. Look at this, already above 100 by 1:30. As we go through the afternoon, isolated thunderstorms mainly north of interstates at 44. Here's your day planner, 80 to start, 98 by noon, high temp 106. Isolated thunderstorms into tomorrow evening, but tomorrow night, after midnight, I think most of us are going to get a batch of showers and thunderstorms. Not completely widespread, but more widespread than what we have seen. Now, I'm hoping to get these into the metro tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. Isolated thunderstorms once again Wednesday afternoon. High temps near 100, and then rain chances increase again Wednesday night into Thursday morning. And this is when our cold front is going to sink through, and you're going to be very happy with me once again. 106 tomorrow, 100 on Wednesday, 90 Thursday, 83 Friday. Look at the weekend. High temps in the 80s as we round up. I guess it's the last weekend of July, this coming weekend.
I didn't want to say anything, Doug, because you are a very interesting guy, but there for a while, man, your forecasts were just, same old, same old.
Yeah, I know. I was pretty bored.
Hey, we appreciate all your work all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Millions of Americans remained under weather alerts today as a heat wave stretched across the U.S. Northeast, though, saw some relief from those high temperatures today. Fox Weather's Nicole Valdez has more.
Stifling heat settling in across the Pacific Northwest Monday. People headed to lakes and splash pads trying to find any relief.
We just bring the kids over here to the waterfront. We live in Vancouver. We want them to have a little bit of water.
A heat wave that's targeted much of the U.S. could send temperatures 10 to 20 degrees above average in parts of Washington state and Oregon. According to the National Weather Service, nearly 6 million people in the region are under excessive heat alerts throughout the week. And the warm weather is finally loosening its grip on the Northeast. The scorching temperatures broke several records on Sunday, prompting local officials to declare heat emergencies.
You should kind of get used to it, but every summer it just feels like it's never been this hot before. What is the problem?
Meanwhile, the extreme heat has increased the risk for power outages. Over the weekend, tens of thousands were left without power in Massachusetts, New York, and Pennsylvania. According to a May report from the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, more than half of the U.S. is at an elevated or high risk for large-scale blackouts this summer. States across the Sun Belt are reporting record energy usage.
The reason our demand is hitting record levels is because of population. We have diversified our industry, so we've got lots of industry. There's lots of commercial and industrial demand for electricity.
Here in the central U.S., the heat index could reach as high as 112 degrees through Tuesday. In Nashville, I'm Nicole Valdez, Fox Weather.
Been there, done that, right? Coming up in sports, the Joplin Outlaws turning their attention to the postseason, plus Coach Craig Crespino's legacy, living on in a new book published in June. Danny Terzer has a story and more next.
Making an impact on his community. even now, 16 years after his passing. Nancy Bauer compiled her neighbor's stories and published a book this past June in his honor.
Very early on that we had been a part of something really, truly profound.
So profound and so important that Nancy Bauer compiled her neighbor's stories, both devastating and heartwarming, and wrote a book.
My husband and I would visit about it and say, somebody needs to write all those things down for posterity, for our community, for our children.
The book, entitled For Coach, tells the story of Craig Crispino.
These are some pictures of my dad. This would have been like early years when he was coaching.
And his impact on the Girard community.
Every chapter starts with a quote about Craig.
We had players that spent a lot of time at our house, and he would go to their homes. He was my dad, but he was also a father figure to so many other kids, students, players.
He would help anybody he could at any time. He would drop anything. He made people feel important and valued.
Crispino spent 22 years on the Girard football coaching staff, first as an assistant and then as the head coach.
This is one of my favorites of Craig because to me that captures his personality. His enthusiasm for the game of football was like nobody else's.
He passed away right before football season began 16 years ago in a tragic accident.
There were 5,000 people plus at his funeral. We had it at the Memorial Auditorium because we didn't know where to have it because we knew there were going to be a lot of people there.
My number one goal from the beginning was just to preserve the story, to preserve Craig's legacy. It's about a man who impacted a community in an incredibly profound way, and his tragic and sudden death impacted our community in a terribly difficult way. But it's also about a community kind of coming together and deciding that we needed to carry each other through this.
And that is what the community did for Coach.
There's one guy in particular that reached out to me over Facebook Messenger, and he was like, I just have to share a story with you about your dad. And so it was just nice to hear something new and to just be reminded that people are carrying with him every day and that he's not going to be forgotten.
Bauer introduced the published book at the Craig Crispino Memorial Golf Tournament in June. The first 100 copies sold that weekend. It's playoff time for the Joplin Outlaws. The Outlaws finished the regular season with a 23-20 record and won the program's first ever South Division title. Joplin has earned a bye in the first round. They will host Jefferson City on Tuesday at 7 p.m. The Renegades beat the Bombers 2-1 tonight to advance to the South Division Championship against the Outlaws. That's a look at sports. We're back after this.
Don't let their thick skin and pointy horns fool you. Rhinos are tough, but not immune to extinction. But an ongoing conservation project is hoping to save these endangered animals, foster biodiversity, even promote tourism. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty reports.
The sun rising over South Africa sets the stage for a massive conservation effort aiming to give the continent's population of black and white rhinoceros a new lease on life.
Come along the fence, you'll see him.
And while it looks terrifying watching people stare down an endangered species from the barrel of a gun, these rangers are on a mission to sedate and secure dozens of rhinos and relocate them to Zenov National Park in neighboring Mozambique, the East African country where rhinos have been locally extinct for more than 40 years.
We're hoping that translocations like this going forward will maybe save or certainly make a difference in the numbers of rhinos in the world.
Poaching and habitat loss continue threatening these creatures, with the South African government alone reporting roughly 400 rhino deaths from poaching last year. The relocation initiative is headed by the Peace Parks Foundation and comes as officials are trying to re-diversify Mozambique's wildlife, build back vulnerable ecosystems, and help reinvigorate tourism.
We've done certain predators that we've moved in and
lot of elephants we've moved in now, and now it's the turn for rhino.
The Peace Parks Foundation is aiming to move more than 40 rhinos to Mozambique over the next 2 years, with hopes these relocation efforts will encourage the rhino population to grow in the next 10 to 20 years. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Coming up, a look at the entertainment coming your way this week right here on Fox 14. Fox competition series are heating up and laugh with animation domination over the weekend. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a look at what's coming up on the TV lineup this week.
The top 6 are back with a trio of performances on So You Think You Can Dance. Here's what's hot on Fox. $1 Million Monday starts with a replay of the premiere of Don't Forget the Lyrics, hosted by Niecy Nash.
Classic rock, that's our jam!
Then an episode of Beat Shazam with teams of mothers and daughters going for that $1 million prize.
I can't fix this.
Tuesday is an encore of Crime Scene Kitchen and bakers deciphering and recreating delicious creations. And escape back to Fantasy Island, where a percussionist hopes to be accepted by her tight-knit Cuban family.
Please get it cooked!
Wednesday, it's a sweet round on a new MasterChef Back to Win, with chefs choosing a dessert for their fellow competitors to bake. That's followed by the top 6 on the So You Think You Can Dance stage, with 3 performances each in trios and solo. Thursday, it's replays of this week's MasterChef and comedies Welcome to Flatch and the Mayim Bialik-led Call Me Kat. Friday, Fox Sports enters the ring with WWE Friday Night SmackDown.
Here we go!
And Fox Sports presents Baseball Night in America Saturday, while Sunday brings the animated laughs of The Simpsons, The Great North, Bob's Burgers, and Family Guy. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
All right, time to get this Monday over with. That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you tonight with video of a couple of jaguar cubs over at Nicaragua's National Zoo. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.